Welcome to the Hideout Podcast, home of these three idiots, including myself, your hosts, Osuma, Wolf, and myself, Ari Wasabi. Today we're going to kick it off with a little something funny. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Why is that so?
I like blue.
Why do you like blue?
I don't know.
What makes you like blue? What's so cool about blue that you're just like, yeah, that's the one?
Well, I grew up in a blue room.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. You're totally right, dude.
It was like
I forgot about the blue room, bro.
I grew up. I was like, it had blue carpet. It had blue walls. I was like, you know what? I like this color.
I like this color a lot.
My little monkey brain. And then when I first got on the internet, they were like, choose your username color, and I was like, well, I like blue, so blue. So yeah, anyway, so that's why I like blue.
So here you are,
yes,
liking blue. Wolf, what's your favorite color?
Pink, but not just any pink. Pastel pink.
Oh?
All
pastel
the pastel
pink.
colors.
It's gotta be pastel. The whole pastel palette.
Yes. I love every pastel color.
Why do you like pastel color?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I used to be a big, red color person, like you. But anyway, now I really like pastel colors.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, well, I guess I'll answer Mike.
Okay.
Okay, go on. Yeah,
hold on. I have to say something here, okay? Because pastel pink, I like pastel pink. But every time I think of it, I think of a damn hospital ward, and it freaks me out. So, just so you know.
Literally any pastel color.
Here, yeah. When Wolf is out here, with her, pastel pink crayons drawn on the wall and stuff, I'm just like, the psych ward, not again. The walls are coming down.
You get those comfy socks, though.
You do get the comfy socks. The comfy socks are nice. No, the ones that stick to the floor, Yeah.
You want the sticky socks?
You can hear them peeling off the floor every step you take.
You can hear the psychotics coming a mile away. You just hear fucking SpongeBob sounds, just oh no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready. Blood transfusion.
I'm ready.
Well, yeah, my favorite color is red. Well, it was originally red. But that's a funny story, right? So, Growing up, right, my favorite color was red for a while. And then, all my friends were like, oh, we like blue. You should like blue, too. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll like blue. And so, trying to be a part of the gang, that was my fucking favorite color for a while. And then I realized, wow, that's stupid. Why would I pick that as my favorite color if it's not my favorite color? So I went back to red, and here I am, red.
Now you're a red airhead.
Well, I have never felt more like a blue-pilled motherfucker because of this. Literally, I'm over here
the red pill.
We grew up together. I feel targeted. I'm like,
no, it wasn't you though. Okay, so it wasn't you. It wasn't you. You know who it was? It was this kid in second grade in my class, and I looked up to him because he was a year older than me. So in second grade, I was like, oh, his favorite color is blue, and he's talking about it all the time, and I'm like, oh, I gotta have my favorite color blue. Of course, it makes sense. So then here I am realizing that was dumb, and
I guess that's red. Fair. Okay, well, first off, on the topic of friendly fire, when we grew up, and I was in second grade, I remember this vividly because you ruined how I write the letter A. Because I was doing homework at Wolf. I was doing homework at Ari's house one time, and I was laying on my stomach, my feet were up in the air, I was kicking it, and I was writing the letter A, and you know how you do the A where it's with the little hook on the top, right? That's how we were being taught it. Is that how you write it?
No. It's
Okay,
not.
well, clearly we've all had someone in that life. The point is that in my opinion, it looks way more elegant to do it that way. So I was learning it, but I also wanted to finish my homework. Okay, and so Ari walked in. He was like, "Hey, you done with that homework?" And then I was like, "No, I gotta finish these A's." Keep in mind, I'm like a child. And then he's like, "I know what to do. I know what to do. Big Ari middle schooler knows what to do here. You write an A like this, and it's like a circle with like a little line." Well, I don't know. You were a big boy, and I was like, oh, well, I gotta learn from the master here. I gotta learn from the master. He likes the color red. That means a lot. And so I should probably change my favorite color to red too. But then he was like, you write it like a circle.
I never gave you that information. How'd you know?
So he just said, you do the circle, and then you do the little curve at the end, like a slide. And I was like, oh my god, you can do it all in one? And he's like, yeah, and sometimes I can do it real quick, like that. And I was like, oh, it's perfect. Dog.
Like, literally writing life hacks.
And now fast forward like half a decade and a half later, and Aaron is like watching over my shoulder as I write something that we were making for Origin. I think we were writing like the triple decker Dia recipe, and I wrote the A, and she was like, "Your writing sucks," and I was like, well. So
that hurts, bro. Ouch.
No, but you know what though? It is a more efficient way to write A. So. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that.
Me,
that was clearly some past trauma.
I'm a real lazy guy, so I just find the easiest way to do things. Sometimes it's efficient, sometimes it's very not efficient at all, but it comes with a curse, so.
But yeah, I didn't mean to derail that. I just had to get that out there, put that on the table. Litigate that.
Trauma dump the alphabet.
Yeah, trauma dump the podcast real quick.
Sorry, guys. My past was really hard. So, I grew up having trouble spelling.
Dude, the spelling bee was a nightmare for me. I didn't know what I was doing. I walked up there and pissed my pants and then walked back off.
And you said,
some things never change.
P-I-S-S-E-D.
Listen, I take a piss every day. No. I don't go to spelling bees anymore, okay? I don't go to spelling bees.
Yeah, okay.
No more pisses. Unless I piss in my dream. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that happens to me. Welcome to the Hideout TV podcast. Perfect intro.
Have you guys seen the news recently, VR wise? There's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out. One thing particularly that I'm excited about is this. It's a new headset. It's made by Big Screen, the guys who
Oh really?
Movie theater. I know.
Yeah, Big Screen. I remember Big Screen. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're still around.
So yeah, dude. They're like, screw the big screen. We're gonna go VR now. So that's what they're doing. They just came out with this headset. I forget what the name is called, but it's pretty cool. The Index, that's what I'm wearing right now. It weighs about 800 grams. This little headset weighs 100 grams, and it's tiny. It literally just goes right over the eyes. It's got a similar FOV to
almost?
yeah, not quite. So it's still a headset. So it still has like a little bulkiness going over the eyes,
like a front end. Okay.
Right, but
that's pretty cool,
dude. It just goes over the eyes nonetheless. FOV's near like Quest 2. It's not quite like the Index, but most of the guys that have tried it out, it's got OLED panels, and they say the OLED panels are so insanely clear and crisp that the FOV doesn't even matter because it just looks so good. It's pretty exciting.
That's really cool.
I want one. The only problem is though, it's like it's $1,000 and it only comes with the headset.
Ooh, that's definitely becoming the norm now. $1,000
yeah,
headsets.
I know, right? I wish that
they're
wasn't
all
the way
adjusting
it was,
prices.
It's terrible.
I mean, to be fair
they
though,
adjust the prices
I think
back down.
I don't know. I think I'll be I'll be the devil's advocate here and say that like you're getting what you're paying for. Like the fact that it like they fit an OLED now into like that's just crazy to me. So it might as well be a phone.
It's wild. They the cool thing too that they do is they custom make the face mask part for your face. So you have to actually send them a 3D model,
Really?
A 3D scan of your face, so that they can have
like
this
a LiDAR?
perfect mold. Yeah, basically. So they'll make a perfect mold for your face, so it fits perfectly on you. Downside is nobody else can wear it because it only fits on your own face. But imagine how comfortable
fine,
that is. Dude. When's the last time you ever let anyone use your VR headset? Because I rarely do. Because like at first I was like, I don't know. That's like
because it gets so.
Kinda,
I mean,
like a downside, but
it gets so nasty though. Like that's the thing. Like if you start sharing it with people, eventually that sweat just like starts swapping.
Exactly.
Now that being said, at the studio that I work at, what we do is because the Valve Index, they were smart about it. I mean, they made the interchangeable like iPads and stuff. So we would just take one out and then put another one in, and basically everyone would have their own like iPad to just magnetize to it. But like still, it's still like, yeah, you know, but my eyeballs are close to this glass that this other guy's eyeballs are close to. So it's kind of weird.
It's kind of just a little gross. And you know, I'm saying that from experience, considering I really need to change this little cover on my index because it's seen better days, and I don't think you can wash them. So I'm not trying to like.
There is a way.
I'm not trying to ruin it.
I know there's a way to like. There's a way to like pad it though. Like I think they say to use alcohol.
I think
pads.
I remember that.
But I'm like, if I put alcohol on this and stuff, and then I put it back on my eyes, I'm just gonna be crying like during the whole like just whatever we're doing.
Why are my
like,
eyes
just, like,
burning?
All right,
I use.
All right, is it my turn to swing?
And I just rub it down.
really?
Let it set for like
smart.
let it set for like 5 minutes.
Does it work pretty good? Or?
Yeah, it doesn't like
that would
have
make
that weird
sense.
smell and stuff to it anymore. It's like I clean it like once.
That would make
like
sense.
once every time I use it.
Because you're afraid of your past self's germs.
I don't like my past self. That's why I clean my face mask. No, I have to try that out though, because I do have a huge ass box of lens cleaners for my glasses, and I didn't realize you could use them to clean your face mask. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some people who wear glasses in VR, by the way, and like because I know it's possible, but I don't know how to do that because I have big glasses, like big.
Same, dude. Same, glasses. Exactly. So they do not fit in this. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, that's a great thing to come up to bring up, because the headset also comes with your prescription. So the actual little lenses that go into it, you give them your glasses prescription, and they set it up so that you can see everything perfectly clear, no matter what your prescription is.
Okay, that's really cool.
I know, that's right? Like really for us blind people, that helps a lot because I can't see anything out of my right eye. It's terrible, dude. When I'm playing Pavlov. Oh, really? Really? That's cool.
Yeah, you can buy like, lenses for the Index.
Oh, that's so
Dude,
cool.
I'm over here like burning my retinas out, just trying to look at like Wolf's hair all the time, and I'm like,
dude, it's a German company.
In HD. Oh man.
Yeah. That's like my biggest problem in like Pavlov and stuff, especially with like pistols. I can never aim through my right eye. I have to go through the left because I cannot see the crosshairs with my right eye at all. And everyone's always like, "Why are you aiming through your left eye?" And I'm like, "I'm blind, okay? I'm blind."
The greatest thing for me, I honestly felt like this is the closest thing to being an old man with a cane, is that like when we do the shooting bits and stuff, and client side it has the laser on it, I'm like, oh thank God, because if it didn't, there ain't any way that I'm gonna be able to make this shot.
Yeah. So Jacob, you want to talk about your Unity experience with making this map, because that is something you did recently.
That is something I did, yeah. In fact, I did it tonight. Like it was just okay, I'll say this. First off, it's very convenient. I like Unity because it is fast, in my opinion, faster than most 3D engines I've worked with. But like, did you just crack?
I was looking at my notes. Don't worry about it. which by the way, my notes are covered by OBS right now,
like-
so
I
I
was
couldn't
like,
even
damn,
look at my
the
notes
moment-
anyways.
I put my nerd emoji glasses on, and then he just killed himself. He's like, no. No, but it's really convenient. I mean, I like it. The process is nice. It's been a big learning curve for me because like I came from like filmic 3D, and so for me it's not about interacting with anything. Like nothing has to do with that usually, you know. So like kind of thinking forward about it, and like talking about interactables and stuff and how it's going to be convenient for people is like that's a whole new thing to me. Because usually I'm just like, no, we're going to kit bash a bunch of crap together, regardless of how optimized it is. Like, boo-hoo, optimized, we just get bigger computer, and then we hit render on that shit, and it's
Grow
done.
up.
Like, but like, yeah, exactly.
Buy a PC, bro. Just spend $3,000,
Yeah.
whatever.
Boo-hoo, commission the render farm, over 100 GPUs, and boom, we got the shot. Like, it's just like that. But with this, it's like, no, this needs to run on multiple people's computers, and it needs to run well on the host, you know. And it's like, when we get to that, it's very interesting. But yeah, it's nice. I think the biggest breakthrough for me was just learning materials and stuff, because I'm used to like node-based materials. So anybody who's in 3D knows that like with Blender, with 3ds Max, Maya, and, and Unreal. They all
That's
are like
cool.
node-based, but
You,
Unreal for VR chat is not yet. So yeah.
You've been messing around with like Unreal Engine 5 or are you
A
just
little
been doing
bit.
like Unreal Engine 4 stuff?
I've been observing. I really
Observing.
honestly
That's
I'm,
good, though.
I'm
That's good.
nervous about it. Yeah, because like obviously like I've worked with Unreal technicians and stuff, and I've like listened into like Epic conferences and stuff, and we've even had experts from Epic come in and talk and stuff like that. And like it's really cool to like see how it's made and stuff and like the inner workings, but it's also like a complicated, like it's Unreal is not exactly like the most user-friendly thing in my opinion. For somebody who's a good technician, they'll know exactly what to do. I mean, it's the same with Unity. If you know Unity and you know all the panels and you know like the language and stuff, obviously
Right, yeah.
you're going to get really fast at it. So the benefit for Unreal that they sell everyone on is that as long as you have a technician, it's going to be really convenient. You know what I mean? So that's why they're like, they're more advertising to directors to be like, oh yeah, you can move all this stuff around. The truth is, Unity is not far behind in my opinion. Actually, I found
really?
out, yeah, so Weta Digital has secured a license for Unity. They're not, I mean, they are messing with Unreal Engine and they're still doing that stuff, but apparently they're also working in Unity now. So clearly there's something that they're seeing there that they want to retrofit into a special engine for them. And I was like, that's pretty cool, dude.
That's
so,
cool.
yeah.
Unity
But
2.
It's all the same. Unity 2. Unity Weta Edition.
Weta Edition Unity.
Yeah. But that's another thing is like, so for me, like Lumen in Unreal Engine is incredible. I mean, that thing is awesome. You don't have to bake lighting necessarily. It's all real time, like they say. And you'll get results like what we have here, like where you've got like the kind of blind effect where like, the windows have this cast and you see the shadow detail and stuff like that. Lumen does that like instantly. So that's really cool. With this map, everything is pre-baked. But as somebody who's new to even doing like using game engines, baking is not really a problem for me. I actually think it's still kind of the way that I think about it. Because it's what optimizes things. So, I don't know. I mean, there's benefits to both. I feel like if VR chat were ever to move to Unreal Engine, I feel like it's a whole other story. I mean, like, I have no idea how that would work, and I'm sure that they've thought of the same thing. But, yeah, it's what I will say is if they move to Unreal Engine, we may see better usages of materials, for example. So, whereas in Unity, like, one thing I see all the time with these worlds and stuff is, like, carpet, right? Like, when you see carpet, it's, like, a big deal. You're like, oh, my God, like, they have, like, look at how plush this
actual
carpet is.
fuzz texture.
Yeah, but when if you actually turn the lights on those, then you realize that it's actually really low poly. They're just these tufts, that are just like,
Interesting.
they're just really soft looking. And so, but it's also really smart on the world creators in Unity. Like they do that, and it looks really good. Like it's all about the lighting, And then with Unreal, that'll change things. I mean, we've seen Code Miko. Like it'll change the way that even carpet works. Like for example, and to me that's a huge deal. Like the day that I like put my hand on VR carpet and it reacts to my hand, I'm gonna be like, shit, dog, maybe it is better than real life. Like, that's the day for me.
When every physical attribute of real life becomes a thing in VR, what's the point of even living?
Yeah, the day that I'm uploading my consciousness right now.
Link start.
Link start. Yeah, and then like I think the future of that, if we ever really go down that route, or if Unity gets that good, then it's going to be like, you're going to see more surface imperfections and stuff, which is always like my big thing. Obviously, as a film guy, you'll see that. But like, this table is way too smooth in my opinion. I'll be really critical of my work here.
Right.
And it's because there are surface imperfections, but I couldn't figure out how to put it into Unity yet. So I'm sure I'll get there eventually, but it's also not really necessary for a podcast, so that's why I didn't do it. But like,
normals.
Someday we'll get more normals in here with the chipping, and stuff.
Yeah. Perfect imperfection. Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, that's my coffee stain from my coffee mug that one time.
Yeah, that's that's what we need. We need continuity in this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have a coffee mug one day, like we'll just have like little like circles, and then by like episode 100, it's just like just
covered. It's a whole new texture because it's just
for some reason there's just like for some reason there's like bottle caps near like wolves, and she just keeps popping sodas.
Popping beers, more like.
Popping beers.
Beer's gross.
Well, you got that Samuel Adams over there. You didn't even give me any. How long ago was that cap from?
I was gonna say though, I'm really new to Unity, but like honestly, Wolf has been the one that's been like teaching me, or like even just reminding me of my dumbassery. Like tonight, she was just like, "Remember, you found out that you can do this with the collider," and I'm just like, "Oh, don't!" Like,
duh.
And I mean, you like sometimes even help like avatar creators sometimes, right? Like you've given advice and stuff. I mean,
I have, yeah.
That's industry professional right here. We gotta talk about that.
Definitely.
What's your experience with Unity, Wolf?
I've only known it I think I started learning it back last May, but I still don't know a lot, and I'm still learning a lot. I think I spend most of my time teaching people rather than learning new things.
Yeah.
I'll just like catch on. I'll be like, oh, that's something I could have done better. Like one of my first commissioned models, every time I go back to it, I'm like, wow, I did not know what I was doing when I was doing this model. So every time I get recommissioned for it, I try to fix it up just a little bit more to make it better. I've seen my change though. I have grown.
I feel that on all levels. For sure.
Yeah.
I was working on.
Yeah, you're in it too.
Go for it.
Oh no!
I guess I'm into it just a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this model specifically was a fucking nightmare. I worked probably 8 to 10 hours a day, about 5 days out of a week. And then zip bombed myself in Unity and destroyed the whole file, and I had to start over all over again. And it didn't stop there. Because I didn't realize that I zip bombed myself in Unity. Right? I was like, oh, I don't know what happened. It just broke. Let me try again. After crying for multiple hours and whatever, so try again, second time doing it, and then all of a sudden, boom! 5 hours later, zip bombed myself. What What happened? Why are all my prefab IDs all messed up? This doesn't make any sense. All of a sudden, I realized one of the packages I was throwing in there was also had a copy of this guy's prefab IDs, his VRC SDK, all this stuff, and it copied itself into my Unity and broke it twice. The third time, dude, the third time I was going through that, I was so particular about anything I was putting in that Unity package. I was like looking at every single thing as I was importing, and it took me forever. But it was nerve-wracking. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna put this package in. I hope it doesn't delete it again, so that would really suck.
That is wild. But
it worked out.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I mean, even hearing you talk, I'm just like, that is like, he's not even talking about him making the avatar. He's just talking about the file paths. Like, yeah, it's just crazy.
We haven't even touched the surface about making the thing. But yeah, I got to give it all to Wolf though, because Wolf got me into it, and I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have even started any of this stuff if it wasn't for you.
You picked up really fast though.
It's very true. I felt like it was overnight that you were just like, hey, have you picked up Unity yet, Jacob? And I'm like, what? he's like, check out what I did. Swing. And I was like, oh my God.
Dude, it's so funny with Unity because you can think that you know everything there is to the app, and you realize you don't know anything. You don't know anything. Yeah. And it just like crumbles up your soul and throws it in the trash, and it says, good luck, start over. And
yes.
And man, is that humbling. Is that humbling?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Jeez. I mean, that's why, like, especially with Unity, I've been versioning up like crazy. It's like, okay, I'm going to move this chair over, version up. Okay, I'm going to move the bell, version up. Like, it's just small things like that. And I'm not even going to get into how I feel about the outside of this studio. Everything that's
good thing it's not in the shot, right?
Yeah. That's another thing. I'm honestly, that's another thing about like game engines, right? It's like with Blender, and when I render things in Blender, or like, I hit render, with Cineforce. I knew you were because you laughed. Well, okay, so with Cinema 4D and Blender, it's like I am like trying to hide things all the time. Like I'm like, okay, the camera will move in this exact coordinate so it hides this error. But with this, it's like you can't hide anything because you have to imagine that everyone is going to run around this block 1,000 times. And then when you think about it like that, you're like, okay. And of course, when we first made this map, like when I first uploaded version 1 of this map, as we were doing like tech dev and stuff, you guys loaded in. The first thing that happened was you guys walked outside and fell. Like you literally went. You walked up to like the wall. You walked up to the wall and then you clipped out of it. And I was like, "Damn it! I forgot the
dude. I just backed up at spawn and fell on the wall. Just,
yeah. It was just like those things, like all the time. And then he's like, "Okay, pull that world back. We start over. we fix this." And then it's like, oh yeah, and then now 1,000 things in the code break, and you're like,
yeah, dude, I bet when you're not in control of the camera, it's a whole nother game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen like Wolf, like when you do like people's avatars sometimes, like it's obviously no offense to the avatar creators who make it, but when you like even tweak one thing, I see like your command console just go like boom, bunch of errors there, and then she's just over here like fixing each one, just like boom, boom, just like just checking it up and down. It's like I'm just watching and I'm just like, what do you mean you broke the tail by fixing the eye?
Oh my God, but it's so true though. It's so true. It's always something that just doesn't make any sense. Like, why? This has nothing to do with what I just did. So why did it break? Every time. Unity, man.
So the consensus on Unity is great program, difficult to use.
Yes, exactly.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Once you learn it,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, it all makes sense. But if you don't know anything about it, it's like, oh my god, I hate myself. It's just like this constant like cycle. You know, you're like, yeah, I know everything about this, and then all of a sudden, no, I don't know anything. No,
No.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it took me like 3 years to like be considered like a professional in Blender, and I imagine that with Unity, give it 10. Like it's a whole other ball game. So, and I it makes me so like appreciative of people who do this like 24/7. It's crazy to me. So, yeah, shout out to the world creators.
It's
You
a
wanna hop
fun
on this
time.
podcast?
So a little while back, me and Wolf went to the VR Chat. Was it the film festival? The first film festival of VR Chat?
Yeah, the VR
ever?
con. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was
Yeah.
pretty fun. But we saw some amazing films in this VR con. Things that just kind of like blew us away. Do you want to give an example? Maybe something that you liked from the VR con that kind of blew your mind.
Okay, so there's two that I remember so vividly. It was the music video of Golden Hour. That one was really pretty.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah,
the
Wolf
it
showed
was
me
the
that after.
one that had the comments of, why do the women always die? Oh, this why do they keep killing
After-
the women off?
After they killed a bunch of women off in all the other ones before that.
That is so funny.
Perfect
like,
timing.
honestly, to me, that's really funny to me because it's like film is such a reflection of like, you know, your worst fears and your worst anxieties and stuff. Because that's what you're gonna do to make your characters like really, you know, like lovable is based on things that are actual human and like experiences and stuff. But I love that the biggest fear that most people have in the VR chat community is losing their girl, like to a horrible accident, like something real bad, like
Like, it couldn't even be
it's never
cheating,
just
man. It's
cancer.
got to be death. That's all.
It's like, yeah, the cheating I can handle, but the stage 4 cancer, like that's
Dude,
what
I just
really
can't do it. I just can't do it.
I just hit my headset.
Wait, that's not my real face.
Sorry, my hair is just a little frizzy. Duh.
Yeah, one
But,
of the.
Wolf, you said. Wolf, you had a second one though.
Oh, the one, I can't remember the name of it, but it implemented Blender and Unity and VR chat.
Yes.
Like they used it to make scenes and stuff, and it was really cool. Like I remember Ari and I just
Yeah.
both went
Oh my god.
snapped at each other.
This is amazing. The combination of having VR chat and I'm assuming what they did was they had the map made themselves and then they just uploaded it to VR chat and then also had that to use in Blender. But it was genius. And because they set it up to where the graphics in VR chat and the graphics in Blender were super similar, it
was
worked
gonna
out
say.
super easy. It was
Yeah, because that's the hurdle, right? It's just like
Right.
game engines are obviously going to interpret materials and light completely differently than the filmic engines and stuff. So the fact that they got
Exactly,
that
yeah.
to work so well, I was like, damn, dude, that's good.
Yeah,
And
the
it's like,
biggest difference,
You get extra control.
right? The biggest difference really between the two was just knowing like, oh, that guy just did a flip. There's no way you could do that in VR chat, or you know, like, oh man, he just did like a 5 different spins in the air, and yeah, there's no way he did that in VR chat. But that was really the only thing that really like kind of differentiated. Another thing they did was their camera was set up like it was like old school PS2 camera shots where
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like super rugged from one section
Yes.
and then the camera moves over to another section and it was just like really
Dude, it
raw,
totally-
you know,
It
not the
reminded me
greatest.
of like some Resident Evil, like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
early
It was
Resident Evil
definitely
cameras.
Yeah, it was like Resident Evil camera where it just like moves super harsh
It's just
from
like,
one point to
boom.
another. It's just like, oh man, I feel like I'm playing a PS2 game. This is so cool.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
That was probably one of the cool ones, and then there was multiple Blender ones, but there was also one with all the little Tidums running around doing the drift
good.
video. That one was so creative. The just everything about it was like these guys are just having fun when they're doing this, but it looks good.
Again, I mean, it was shot like the old like original 90s like Tokyo Drift videos, like not even the film stuff, like not even like it's not even like actual, like they're not trying to be cinematic with it, they're trying to make it look like it was shot homemade. And I was like, that is awesome, dude. Like, that looked so good. You could tell that they, like, grew up on that. And it's, like, perfect. And it really spoke, you know? It's, like, because we kind of grew up on those videos. And so it's, like, super cool to see.
Crazy to see, like, just where people are going with film these days. Anywhere, you know, YouTube or TikTok or wherever that is. Wherever they want to post
by the way, congratulations.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Overnight.
Ari
becomes a TikTok partner.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. I woke up the next morning and I hit 11,000 on TikTok, and I was like, oh my God, I got a notification that I was eligible for getting paid, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure, yeah, this sounds like a good time to me. But yeah,
dude, I mean, it's working out.
It's emotional. Great. It's very emotional for me. I which is like, it's kind of cringe to say it that way, but it's like today I was just like, it all kind of came to me. I was like, oh my God, this really could be something that I could possibly do, you know.
Well, it's the feeling that it's real.
Yeah, like it's finally all clicking a little bit, and it's scary. It's a little scary. I won't lie.
I mean, to be like, honestly, I'm sure Wolf, like, you agree, but that's how I feel about like when we launched our Patreon for Hideout.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
that was the moment where that was when we got our first like patron. It was like, this is a big deal now. At least in the sense that we have a responsibility now to do the best we can. Like, we feel it's not just a motivation, it's like an obligation. Like, we well, in a good way, like a positive obligation.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's that all of a sudden it really does like make us want to do the best job we can. And so I think that's great. Like but it's also like, it is a little scary. It's like, well, we really hope that, you know, our patrons like this, you know, because it's for them. So yeah. It's not being about just us making things that made us laugh. I think it's also, I mean, I think that's a huge part of it. I think that now it's like we're doing this with people now. You know, that's how it feels.
It's like,
so I'm sure it feels
laughing.
like that for you. Yeah, you're. it's like you're now laughing not just with yourself in the mirror, but with your fans. You know, like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm sure that's how it feels for you. Your comment section.
My comment section is atrocious. It can be great. It can be terrible. My YouTube specifically gets the most flack about whatever I post. Like, I'll get like several comments with like, yeah. So I like, it'll be a joke, right? Like, whatever it is, it's always a joke at the end of the day. But then I'll get like criticism about like the joke and how it could have been a better joke, and I'm like, but that's the joke. But that's a joke, though. That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? How do I make the joke better if that's what the joke is? But yeah, like it doesn't really bother me that much because, you know, it's just how it is. Anyone, anywhere is gonna get really weird comments. But I also get like super supportive stuff too, and that's kind of the stuff those are the comments that really kind of drive me to keep going and keep me motivated. The people that like keep coming back, that I see repetitive commenting or liking or whatever, and those are like that's where I'm like, you citizen, I'm posting for you.
I'm here for the people.
I'm here for the people.
I speak the people. Yeah, I know, Wolf, you texted me like a lot. It's just like, hey, guess what? We got another patron.
I've been getting really excited over it.
No, it is.
okay,
It's
it
very
true?
exciting.
Were you just refreshing it like whenever we launched it? Were you just like sitting there refreshing it? Because I imagine
I
that's
was
how I
not.
imagine.
No. I just had it
every
open
5
and I would
seconds, is
tab
there a
back
new one?
over and like, oh, we got another one. Yay.
It's like
Refresh.
every time. I was at a dinner.
Refresh.
And I kept getting like my phone kept vibrating. I was like, "What's going on?" I look and it's like, Jacob, look, it's a screenshot. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about like the fact that it's all coming together. I mean, it's really cool because again, VR chat is just that it's a new medium like that. I think people aren't acknowledging just yet. I think that the people who have acknowledged it are doing a real good job. And it's just crazy that like that you can achieve these things, with like a new persona and stuff. It's like it's almost like I'm sure for some creators it's like a clean slate. Because I know Ari, your channel started as like a motorcycle channel, like it was a motorcycle vlogging channel, but now it feels like you had this whole rebrand, like because you have this new persona of like your Halo character and stuff. So that's pretty neat.
Right,
I think that's cool.
It was a little weird kind of transitioning that whole thing, but I I have all those videos still privated. They're all still there. They're just not on. They're not public anymore.
Do any of like your old subscribers like ask you questions like, "Hey, what is this?"
Every once in a while, I get that guy that's like, who did I don't remember subscribing to you," and then I'll be like, "Motorcycles," and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember you now.
Motorcycles.
Yeah, oh, it all makes sense.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the bloke with the Hawk 250.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah, it usually goes like one of two ways. It's either, oh, you're cool, I'll still support you, or it's like, oh, that's cool, okay, I'm gonna unsubscribe now. I'm like, okay, yeah, good luck.
You have a good one.
You have a good one, sir. So I have a question. Have either of you experienced really weird stuff in the map The Black Cat on VR chat?
I'll let Wolf talk on this one.
Yeah.
There was a reason I don't go to public black cats anymore, okay?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it. We gotta hear this.
All right, the last time I was at a public black cat was probably back in October, and I was approached by like someone who couldn't be older than 13. And they just made this really weird screech sound and through their headset. And I don't know. Ever since that there's a clip of it somewhere. I could probably find it, but it really caught me off guard. It was like, he said along the lines of, "Don't say that."
Just watch his body fly across the map.
I was just sitting there, I was like, did anybody else see that? Nobody was looking, so I was like, I guess I'm just crazy.
Oh my god.
And I never went back to another black
What
cat.
did I just watch?
That's so funny.
Like, I just don't know what happened.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, like, I feel like an old man every time I talk about VR because I speak from, like, a real world coming into VR perspective still. I feel like a VR freshman, you know what I mean? And I think the Black Cat was the first place Wolf took me, like, when I was asking her about, like, well, what's VR chat like, you know? And so I put on this, like, dinky-ass, like, Iron Man armor because I love, like, Iron Man and stuff. And then we went in. And I was like, what are they doing? And she was like, oh, those are mirror dwellers over there. I was like, mirror what? And they're like, they're obsessed with, like, you know, they're just how they look. And so they just kind of sit there and look at themselves. I was like, you mean like that one story from, like, the Bible? Like, where it's just obsessed? I was like,
history repeats itself.
Like, yeah, I was like, what's going on here? And then I walked up there. I was like, big Iron Man suit with all these tiny e-boys, and I was like, what's going on here, guys? And then they were just like, hey, how's it going? And then they, like, went back to, like, you know, petting their little kittens. And I was just like, okay, how's your day? And he's like, dude, can you see that I'm doing something here? I'm like petting a woman. And he was just like, do we have a problem? And then I think I don't know where Wolf was at the time, but I was like, Wolf.
People are so serious sometimes,
These
man. I'm just like,
people are weird.
listen up a
They are
little
always
bit.
so serious. Always.
Yeah, so then I was like, well, if that's your thing, I guess I gotta, win in Rome. And so I started petting the guy's head. And I was like, do you find enjoyment in this? And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, clearly your girlfriend here likes it, so I figured, like, you got cat ears too, buddy.
Buddy.
I was the worst.
It all makes sense. I mean,
I was just the worst. So, yeah, nowadays I just leave them alone. I've gotten tired of, like, hanging out with them, but how about
I try my
how about
best.
you?
Yeah, I try my best to
What's
stay out of
yours?
Black Cat, but sometimes it's usually Cat who drags me into those ones.
Of course.
But yeah. So we'll end up there, and every single time it's just something weird had to happen. I think the last time, some random dude walked up to some other random dude and was like, "Hey, do you want to be my Valentine?" It was Valentine's Day. "Hey, do you want to be my Valentine?" And this guy turns around real slowly, looks up to him, and he's like, "Man, I'm 14." And he just like, he instantly left the lobby.
Oh my
like
God.
that soon. I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
The
wow.
thing about, like, especially with Christmas that happened recently, so many kids got Quest. So many kids got
Yeah.
Quest.
Dude.
And they are just rampant everywhere in VR where,
Yeah. Jeez.
it's a lot of not kid-friendly things going on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't want to be like the big rules guy or whatever, or like the big parent in the room. But I'm just like,
Right.
like I am worried about how kids will adjust in that space. But like
just a little bit.
at the same time, I don't know. Like, I guess my thing is I'm kind of comparing it to like kids on Discord. Like. Because there are, and like I was one. I started Discord on as like 16 or 15 or something.
Right, yeah.
And I've had my share of like weird and being weird and not being the coolest guy ever, like and so I imagine it's the same thing, but it's like I don't know, like over Christmas one of my nephews got like a VR or Quest, and he was just fucking bumping into walls and hitting, like he almost spilled a drink because he didn't know how to control himself. He was just like and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm playing monkey game. I was like, what
Oh my
monkey
gosh.
game? Like what? I don't know what game he was talking about, but he was just like, I'm playing
tag
monkey
or something
game.
like that.
Monkey tag. Oh yeah,
I
that's
think that's
right.
what it's
Yeah, or
called.
gorilla tag.
Gorilla
tag.
tag.
I
Yeah,
think is what
I
it's
knew it had
called.
tag in it.
Yeah, but I don't think he knows what that word is, so he just says monkey instead. And it's just like, it's just so weird to me though, like to see him in VR and he's always on it, like he's just always on it, and I'm like, uh-oh.
It's addicting. It's a little too addicting
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, you got hooked on it fast. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I think
you
I had
came
like
home and you
a
had full
month.
body in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think I had a month of desktop VR chat, and then I was like, "Yep,
Mhm.
index," and then probably only a few months after that, I was like, "Yep, full body."
dude, I
Throw
gotta
me
tell
in
you,
there.
from my perspective, you moved to Colorado and you're like, I think I'm gonna get a VR headset. I think I'm getting the index. I was like, dude, yippee, hooray! And then Ari goes dark for
Yeah.
like 2 months, where I'm like, I wonder where Ari is. And then Wolf just goes, he's in VR, just like yesterday. I was like, what's going on? I was
Just like
what's going
usual.
on? Like, and she's just like, every day I see him in VR. When I wake up, I see him in VR. When I go to bed, I see him in VR. When I go get my night snack, I see him in VR. I was like,
Always
like-
in VR.
but
Look, it's fun. Okay, I spent some hard-earned cash on all this equipment here. Okay, I'd be damned if I didn't use it. Okay.
I mean, no, like, to be fair, no judgment, because I'm like, you know, you had never done it before, really, because you had come from like 2 years of not having internet, basically.
Definitely.
So like
yeah.
and now you're more tech savvy in VR than me, and like I've had this.
Those were the
So,
dark
there you
ages,
go.
dude,
Like,
for sure. That
Yeah.
those 2 years were like the 2 years of, I mean, like, I'm not even joking. At the end of those 2 years, I really thought I was never going to play video games again, because I was just not interested in it anymore, because I had been away from it for so long. I was like,
yeah, you were like totally detoxed.
you know, this is like, yeah, video games and memes in general, like internet as a whole was just not something that was like a part of my life. And so I was like worried in my head. I was like, oh my God, I might never enjoy this hobby again, because I don't enjoy it now. And then as soon as I got in a Discord call and I got into VR chat, it like light switch flipped in my head, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this stuff. I want to do this all the time.
Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. That's the real bottom line here. But
in this case, don't do internet.
That's so funny. Well, okay, but that is funny that you say that, because it really did feel like it was like, for me at least, it felt like POV, like, you know, we're kids again, like we're playing like Gmod again together and stuff. I was like, this is crazy. Like, to see Ari in VR chat is like a cool thing. Is like that. I just it's one of those, I didn't know I was missing it. You know, I didn't know I was missing my boy, and then all of a sudden he's in, and I'm like, yeah. That's right. That's fucking
man. I did not realize what I was missing out on. It's also cool though, because cool. Like we can be in situations like this where, you know, we're not in North California together anymore, so we can't really hang out in real life. But here we are. Let me get the shots real quick. No.
Yeah, no. But for real though, it's like actually that's kind of how I explain it to people in the real world, right? I'm just like, well, you know, Woofy here, like I show people sometimes our first podcast episode. I'm like, she's in Tennessee, he's in Colorado, I'm in California, we're all in different states, and it's like just cool that like at the same time we're sitting at a table together.
Exactly.
Even though my hand just clipped right. My hand.
We're
just
sitting
right
at a
through the
table together. As my knees clip through the table here. But it's definitely, you know, one of the things about VR chat that I've loved is it's definitely kind of brought that back, and you know, just, you know, we've got history, right? We've known each other for so long, and for there to be a situation, where we can be, you know, our full selves, even though it's in a video game, our full selves together hanging out is not something I would have guessed would have been a thing 4 or 5 years ago. You know, I never would have guessed that the accessibility of all this stuff and where we are now is just never would have crossed my mind.
It blows my mind, man. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here today, would have never guessed that guy in that poster back there. He would have never guessed that this is what we'd be doing. It's just like, and it opens your mind too. Like it opens your mind to like, for you, it was the possibility of doing VR TikTok and stuff. And like I think honestly, like, big ups to Wolf, because it opened my mind to understanding what the culture will be like 10 years from now, or at least a general idea, which is this. Originally, like when I talk to game developers and when I talk to Unreal technicians and 3D artists and stuff, it's always, I went to college for this. I learned on Maya. I learned on 3ds Max, you know, and stuff. And this is like, I know the workflow, and I know, you know, I say things like node based, right? And I say things like, you know, and I used to think that the professional vocabulary was to say things like albedo and normals and bump maps and stuff like that. What's crazy to me is that that's common knowledge now. Like, or at least for people, for the lay, like, Wolfie, I would consider is a layperson to the film industry, but not so anymore. Like now, she actually has a fighting chance in the 3D industry because because she
That's
wants
a dub
to
right
put
there. That's
the
a dub.
Hideout logo on her shirt here. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's things like that like completely blow open the door for people. And like, so, you know, we had all three of us kind of had a 2-year hiatus where we all went in our own life chapters and stuff. And when we came back, talking to Wolf was completely different because all of a sudden she's explaining to me 3D concepts like weight painting and stuff. And I'm like, I trained for this. Like, I do this. I get paid to do this at a studio. And this girl right here, she's like doing it in her sleep, basically. Like, she's just a natural. She's like, oh, gotta open this up, weight paint this. I don't really, but she even explained to me, like, you've explained to me, like, I don't even know, like, what this is called. I just do it, you know? And I'm like, that's the future right there. The fact that it's so natural to some people, like, because they were born in the digital age, it's like, that isn't my hope for, like, young kids that are into VR right now. It's like, that's how they're gonna be, is their day is to come home and just tinker, like, in like 3D and stuff, and just make cool shit, like, all the time. So
Definitely.
That is the future that I never thought would happen.
No, for sure. Because,
So-
like, I mean, same with me. I never, a year ago, you told me I was working in Unity. I'd be like, yeah, you're crazy. I never saw myself getting into, working in game engines and with Unity and Blender.
Yeah.
And without, the situation we have here right now, I would never learn to any of this stuff.
Right.
Which is just, it's
It's
nuts.
crazy.
And to see that,
It's
and it's also,
insane.
it's like, yeah, it's like it's motivational for me, at least. Like, I love, as much as Unity pisses me off so much, I love learning new ways of doing things, new ways of working with the program, and just, learning how to use it with every little gap or little hurdle I run into. It's always like, this sucks, but once I learn it, I'm never gonna have to learn it again, and that's it's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
It's pretty nice.
Especially when you see the progress, just in model making or whatever you're doing. You look at it and you're like, wow, I don't know how I did that, but I did. I guess I'll keep going.
Right? Like, yeah, I mean, as like as a person in the industry, I used to always be afraid of, like, character rigging and stuff. I always hand that off to a character rigging artist, that's what we do. And then, again, to see, like, you guys just, like, whip this shit up, and it just looks like magic. I'm like, man, they can just do it, And then once, like, Wolfie took me under her wing, taught me some things about bones and stuff, I was like, I cannot believe that I just received training from Wolf on Blender. Like, that, like,
The
I was
Wolf
like,
from Blender.
I was like, I'm humbled, that's for sure. I thought I knew everything, and then she opened my mind. Yeah.
Nothing hits harder than Blender Cube.
I was trying to thumbs up and I missed my trigger.
Thumbs up, tee-hee. What's another map that you guys have been into that always gets a little sus in VR? Just a little too much sus. Got anything in mind? Because I do have one. I'll give you like 3 or 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna say it now.
You got one? You want?
The Great Pug. You ever been to the Great Pug? The Great Pug is a PC only world, but it's still very cursed. Every time I go in there, you always got the memers every time, which I have been myself. Actually, last time I went to the Great Pug, me and a bunch of the buddies, we're all going in as you remember Sounds of Velociraptor Avatar?
Oh yeah, I was there.
Yeah. I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great time. Oh yeah, that was for Valentine's. That's right. We did that.
Yeah.
We did that for Valentine's. So okay, we need to do more of those because those are fun.
What does the Great Pug look like again? I've
The Great
been
Pug
there. I
is the
just don't
bar
remember it.
downstairs, and it has the crazy staircase that goes like 5 fucking stories
Oh.
high for no reason.
Yep. Okay, I know that one.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it's
fun.
got
That
like
one
a-
is fun.
It's always a.
I
There's
feel
a
like I
reason.
always see
trip
the
going
best
into
meme,
those.
like the best meme avatars there.
There's a reason you find so many VR chat content creators in that world. Like, just throughout the week, you'll just come across them. There's a reason why. There's just so much chaos.
Yeah, it's funny. Like
Yeah,
AFK Johnny showing up at that one event. That
Yeah.
the other Johnny also happened to be there. But yeah, I don't.
That's cool.
I've only run into like a few Twitch streamers before, but I really haven't had like any big like, oh, I know that guy names before in the Great Pug. That being said, I don't really hang out in the Great Pug that often, so considering how cursed it could be.
Yeah, for me, it's just I love watching the meme avatars and like all the different like effects
They're
that
so
they can
funny.
do and stuff. So it's
Yeah, dude.
I remember I think the only memory I actually have from the Great Pug is this one Hugh Neutron avatar that just like did the most like ritual ass like effects and stuff, and I just thought that was like hilarious to me. And that was like
Yeah.
early VR chat, like when I first got back into it, you know. So it was funny.
Yeah, it's always interesting seeing like just the most random meme avatars ever. Like the like someone just walking in as a blender cube. That shit is so funny to me because every time I'm like, "Oh my god, it's a blender cube. There's a blender cube here." Someone just took the blender cube and uploaded it. A lot of the
Blender
guys that'll
cube,
like
dude.
show up as like any meme, like what's that guy's name? He's the bald dude. He's like super controversial right now. Andrew Tate. Yeah,
Andrew
yeah.
Tate, yep.
Anyone walking in
I was
as those like
pick a one.
you know those like 3D print, like those 3D scanned models of people that people like upload. You'll see like the
Yep.
Santa from episode 3. Like those avatars
Yes.
are so funny to me, dude. Speaking of which,
I
I,
love
had
when
an
they
idea.
like blow it out of proportion. Oh,
yeah,
go on.
yeah, right. It's just so weird. I had an idea. You need to make one of your pose where you're just like this.
That's a good
And that's
one.
it.
That's a good idea.
That'd be
funny,
so
actually,
funny, dude.
so-
Like the
Before
Osuma in the
I-
flesh.
Before I bought and built out this avatar and like the suit and stuff, the original plan for my avatar was going to be heinous. I used to work with someone. He left the company since, and that's why we never did it. But he did a photogrammetry of my body. So like I stood there in the A pose.
What?
And he did the full like photogrammetry of my hands, my body and stuff. And the problem was that my hair like completely did not translate. Like, cause I put my hair up in real life.
Yeah.
And it just totally like, he showed it to me. It turned into like a mushroom. Like,
Oh my
the
God.
software had no idea what to do with it. It was weird. But we had to go and we had to do it again. But by that point, he had left. And so we never got that photogrammetry done. But ever since then, I'm like, one day, the moment I meet someone who knows how to do it, or someone with a camera who understands it, then I can show it to them and be like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to scan myself in VR chat.
So what you're saying is that there's a file somewhere with you, and you just have a giant afro.
That's it. Yeah, it's still on
Can
the
I have it?
database. Sure, yeah. I need to pull it actually to make sure
I need
that
it for
I have it.
scientifical reasons.
Because I don't know how messed up it got. Like, I wonder if I can clean it up, like, to see if I can just kind of sculpt it into place, you know? Maybe it is usable. I don't know. But it'd be really funny. I should pull that, actually, from the servers.
So what was your experience making your current avatar? Did you end up going through Blender, or were you able to implement everything through Unity?
I did a lot of it in Blender because I could speak the language better.
Right.
But as you can hear by Wolf's muted giggling. Actually, Wolf, do you want to explain the story behind the suit particularly?
No, I'm good. No.
No, look, we've been talking way more. If you want to jump in here, you can.
Let's hear this explanation on Blender as a whole.
Okay, fine. I'll go into it. So, we downloaded a base body with like a guy who has a great hairstyle in my opinion, and so we started there. In my opinion, he looked a little too like gothic to me, and like obviously most people in VR chat love the gothic look, and that's good for them. They're working it. For me, given my personality, I'm like, nah, I want to show up to VR chat with class. Like, I want some class to it.
Yeah.
And so we spent like a good week like looking for suits and stuff, and all of the ones were the most like fratty suits alive. Like, it was like super like low buttoned big V, like, you know, because you want to show obviously your ripped avatar and stuff, because that's how you look in real life. But but like or it's like really like clubbin-esque, like it's like golden tie and stuff, and like very bright like metallic suit, you know,
Right.
something that looks kind of impossible.
But I was way too bright.
I was like, what if we just did like a normal suit? And so I don't remember who showed or who like found it. I think it might have been Javi, or Wolf. But we found this one that was like put on a, what are they called? What are those avatars called? It's like more of like a 2D style avatar. I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, like a toony textured type.
Yeah,
setup,
yeah, like one of those. And so we just found like one on this other website, and we pulled it, put it in a Blender. We're gonna like, you know, just attach it the normal way, and we look at the bones, and they're all sticking out of the butt cheeks. Like, all the bones are just sticking out of the butt cheeks. And we're like, what? And then Wolf was like,
why?
yeah, Wolf was like, did you do something wrong? And so I sent the files to Wolf. She cracked it open. Butt cheeks. Bones out the butt cheeks. And that's when we realized, after some careful research, and after buying it, that it was a Maya-based like model. And so all of the rigging that was done for it was done with Maya armatures, and that doesn't translate to Blender. No. And it does translate to Unity, but you know, if regardless, there needed to be a switchover. So Wolf had to go, and this is why I'm saying that Wolf needs to tell the story, because she had to go through the process over like the course of 2 really late nights, just assembling the bones and like just fixing this thing. It was like brutal. Apparently this is version 6, thanks to Wolf.
Whew. How long did it take you?
Yeah,
how many hours did you put into that?
I didn't count the hours. Estimation, I don't know, maybe somewhere between like 12 and 14 hours maybe. How I got it to finally work in Blender though was I manually I re-rigged it. I had to set all the bones back up, and then randomly just exporting an FBX by accident. Like, I was trying to do something and I made an FBX, and then it worked, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. So I just got it all set up and re-weighted it, and it works fine. It was very painful. I'm just glad I didn't have to buy
We still
Maya.
haven't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we almost did. Like, I got the license and stuff. That Autodesk still lives on my computer, and I just want it to be gone. Like, I just want it to be gone, but I can't get rid of it for some reason. There's no uninstaller. Like, if I try deleting it, it just comes back. And I'm like,
Autodesk
why?
virus.
This Autodesk feels like malware, dude. Like, but like, it's just the worst.
Autodesk
Like,
zip bomb.
Oh,
it's funny
God.
too, because every time I talk to Maya artists, they kind of sound like they hate themselves a little bit, or at least they just sound like they're frustrated. Like, like it's like they've been through this. So I'll be like, "Oh, you're in Maya today," and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, I am."
Just
you know?
kill me now, please. Just hit me in the back of the head with a bat.
I'm just like, and I always feel so bad. I'm like, man, dude, like you should switch to Blender. But you know, I get it. The learning curve is just as hard, you know. So, but I'm really glad we didn't have to do Maya.
Yeah.
That would have been bad.
Maya
we wouldn't have
sounds
been able
like
to make
a
changes.
nightmare.
Yeah, it was. The thing is, again, if I was born with, $5,000 to spend, then yeah, I'd learn on Maya, but I didn't. And actually, I learned on Maya for like a week of my middle school life, and I made a mug. Guys.
Yay.
Wow.
That's about it.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that mug.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
that. Was that also
Yeah,
the one that
took
you,
me, like-
you had fall and break into a million pieces, or was that a different mug?
Nope, that was Blender. That was mug.
Oh, okay.
that
So I was
was-
thinking of Blender then. I was thinking of Blender.
Yeah. So I picked up Maya in 2014, and I made that mug. Took me 8 hours of looking at like a 10-minute tutorial. And then I quit 3D after that.
And then I
And
realized
then
this
6
is not
years
for
later-
me.
And then only 6 years later, in 2020, I finally pick it back up, and I made the second mug, which is the one that shattered. But this time I had all these film principles with me. And that's when I learned, like, that's kind of how I operate now, is that I'll
Right.
learn something technical. Stage 1 is to learn the technical, right? And then stage 2
Oh my
is to
God,
learn
Matthew,
the
I
artistry
know you're
of
listening
it.
to this right now.
So
I have to
that
be so
way,
bad.
you're like,
It's
now that
terrible.
you have your tools and you know how to use them, now it's like, let's put them to work and let's make something that's effective. And so for me, it was, I made a full like Nespresso ad using Blender with the mug and stuff. And I did that with the help of our good ghost 3D artist Winslow. So, which I feel like Winslow is always like our back pocket move. Like I feel like, when like Wolf agrees,
Yeah.
it's like anytime that she really finds something that she can't do, she reaches in her little purse, her magic bag, pulls out Winslow, and there he is. He's like, "Oh, you're an idiot. It's right there. It's the inspector tab." So I feel like that's what happens every time. Like for me too, he's just like, "Oh, but Osuma, there's a cheeky bug right there. Don't you see it?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You had this unchecked." I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should go to bed."
You know what?
Anyway, yeah.
I
I
think
just wanted
with
to
that,
bring it up.
Yeah, I think with that, we're gonna call it a wrap for this one, and we're gonna end this podcast with your hosts Osuma, Wolfie, and yours truly, Arusabi. We'll see you later next time on Hideout TV's podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hideout TV podcast. Your hosts are Ari at AriWasabi on TikTok, Wolfie at the Hideout VR on Twitter, and Osuma at Vuboy_ on Twitter and Instagram. Shout out to our lovely patrons Tara T, Casa S, Jess Swizzle, and Jinx. If you like what we do and want to help us out, we have a Patreon. You can get access to uncut podcast episodes, Wolfie's monthly newsletter, monthly exclusive VR hangouts, and more at patreon.com/hideouttv. Links are in the description. We hope to see you again real soon. And until then, have a great day.